Councilor Trevorrow, and next we'll go to Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you. I'm trying to figure out like where I am with this, and I hope that I don't get point of ordered. And my other colleagues just let me share. You know, because I think like this is ridiculous, like that we are here again. Like this entire exchange is not working for me at all. And I'm just listening to the conversation. I'm reading the statement. I'm reading the press release, and we're just kind of like best practices against like Nazis coming to Portland. Like we're going to just like best practice for Nazis coming here. And you said you have to be the person in the middle and not take sides. And you can't express your views, but in your statement, you expressed your views saying that this rhetoric from this hate group is not keeping in the values of Portland. So where is the line between free speech and between hate speech? And where is like the protect and serve and like the integrity that people are asking you to have? And I'm just, I tried. I said I was just gonna let everybody else share because I have been through a lot and I was just gonna not share my piece, but I'm actually pretty disappointed and disgusted with this entire display. And even this display, like, do you realize how many people had to walk past you today to give a comment and how hard that was for so many people who had to walk up here to give a comment, who are terrified, who don't feel safe? And, you know, we receive press release emails consistently from what's happening with the Portland PD. Like we receive that information to our council email. So I know that arrests have been made. Like I know that y'all know how to arrest people. And I know that you know how to ID people. And I was one of the people that you pepper sprayed in 2020. So I know that you know how to do that. So, you know, I'm just trying to figure out that the entirety of the Portland community that was here today knew what was going on and knew that this was going to happen. And I'm hearing that you did not. And this just happened in Kittery when there was a banner on the overpass saying, keep New England white. And there was an immediate civil rights charge because there was an ID. And again, I was just here. We were just here in February because of racist social media attacks on me. So you were like, you're surprised to see them here. And I know it's like, well, let's acknowledge how hard the job is. Let's acknowledge that. But like, let's also acknowledge we have a serious problem. Like we have a serious problem. People do not feel safe here. And then we have to now figure out a plan. And the plan is like best practices and like love and light. And that doesn't work for me. People don't feel safe in this community. I am a Black woman on this council, and I have never felt more unsafe being in this position. So what does that say for everybody else? And again, we were just here. We were here 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, same packed council. Everybody gave a statement. We all went around, we said our piece, and it was kind of like, we're going to do something about it. And there has been nothing that has been done since then. And then like we have the audacity to propose racial equity as our top goal. And I'm sitting here trying not to like have a panic attack and an anxiety attack being re-triggered by hearing how horrible people in my community feel about living here. Like people don't feel safe to leave their homes. Like kids are scared to walk to school. Elderly adults are living in fear that they're going to be targeted next. And that's coming to me. Like I'm hearing that from individuals. And yes, we hired Umaru, and I can't wait to get to know him, but I've worked in racial equity for a long time. And what we're not about to do is put the history of white supremacy on Umaru's back and ask him to fix it. This is one individual that we have just hired. So I'm not expecting Umaru to just suddenly come in and like make everything work. And it's just like we're looking at the trends, and we're looking at best practices and like trends and best practices for combating Nazis that came into our community that are scaring people. Somebody was assaulted in front of City Hall, and that's just the video that we saw. Multiple other people came in here and said that they had an issue. Somebody went to the police department to make a statement, and nobody was there for her. So like, what are we doing? I just feel like we're like reliving February again. And I'm trying to figure out like, okay, now we've done the communication. All the councilors have spoke. We had 2 hours of public comment, and now we're going to go into the meeting. And it's until the next thing happens, like until they come back. Like, I'm terrified. So I can't even imagine how individuals feel who are not in here. So, you know, I really I tried to feel like I could find like a positive outlook on this, but I'm so upset that with this entire thing and the fact that we're just kind of going through these motions, talking about racial equity, and then we're just going to go forward with the meeting. After 2 hours of public comment of people saying, I'm scared to live in Portland. Like, that's a problem for me. Like that, I'm not comfortable leaving now, going home and being like, that was a great meeting. And then I'll wake up tomorrow and go to work, and then we'll have our committee meetings like it never happened. Like, it'll be in the paper for a week and then we'll talk about something else. So I'm not actually satisfied with this entire conversation. I don't feel like we've gotten anywhere. And yeah, I look forward to what we can do as counselors, which outside of supporting our community members and being on the ground with them, I think is very little. So yeah, I as much as I, again, want to feel like we can do this together and like we're all here together, this is not working. People are scared to live here, and people are looking to you to say, like, what are you going to do? And then we have 2 whole rows of officers here as well, that I would love to hear from, because we're only hearing from you as the chief, but what about everyone else who's here? What about the officers that responded? Are they going to share too? What are you on board? I just want us to have some kind of accountability. And I just feel like I'm so frustrated that we are still here and nothing is really being done. And I don't feel like I can safely tell my community members that we're working on it. And I hate that for me. I hate not being able to tell the community that I represent, specifically the Black community of Portland, that you are safe here. I hate that I can't say that to them. So I'm just going to leave it there.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Ali.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to sit down. Chief, sorry, I left when you were doing your presentation. I'm fasting, so I have to sneak out and go and get something before I faint, or else I'm sitting here. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hilton and many others who were assaulted. I am sorry you have to go through that. And this is coming from the bottom of my heart. I have a few questions because I think I'm hearing individuals saying that we will have to take a bold decision or bold step to do things. My questions may be some specifics. Mayor, do we know if the interim Corporation Council is on the meeting?
He is not on the meeting, but we have Nicole Albert from the Corporation Counsel's office with us this evening. So if we have questions for that office, Nicole is here with us.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Baldi, this is how we welcome people in Portland. So welcome to Portland. Yeah. Chief, you know, on last week, I received, like all my colleagues, I received the email that came from your communications department. And based on that, I came and passed by downtown not knowing what was going on. I didn't notice anything, but someone said, hey, have you noticed what was going on? I said, no. And they told me. And then I received the email. And based on that email, I did had conversation with people that have reached out to me. And I said to them that I don't want to asking me, am I going to make a statement? And I said, well, I don't want to uplift the voices of these individuals. I'm going to just let them go, not knowing exactly, right, what happened until I started seeing videos online of some of the terrible things that they did to our neighbors. And I think there was a TV video that said that they reached out to your office, and some of your officers were there when this was happening. I'm not going to play blame games here. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. And the reason why I asked if the Interim Corporation Council is here is maybe some of my questions may be around law or something, and I'm not a lawyer. I know that from after I've seen that video, I went online and did some reading. There is a thin line between what is free speech that is protected and what is not. And apparently, because I was not there, if you yell at someone with a hate word, you call someone the N-word or the F word, then you cross that line. On that day, there was a video that shows that somebody was beaten up and the F word was used on them. And then somebody was also passing by, or he was driving by, and the N word was yelled at him, asking him to go back where he comes from or something. Is there any tool in your toolbox that the officers that were there should have used that day?
Not a First Amendment expert, but I can say that unfortunately, the use of a racial slur alone is not a crime. And it is in fact protected.
Even if it is directed at someone,
If
like
it's accompanied by a threat or an assault, then that becomes a different story.
Yep.
But the question also has to be whether police were aware of those videos. A lot of times people will post things on social media and not report them to the police or provide a video to the police.
right, I mentioned two incidents: the use of the N-word and then the use of the F word, and if it follow up with individuals being physically assaulted.
Right.
That is not protected, is it?
No, it's not. But the question remains of what the police who were on the scene actually saw. And I can't speak to that. And then whether there were witnesses who were willing to provide statements at the time.
So basically, a witness have to produce. So if there is a protest by Nazis or whoever it is in front of City Hall or somewhere in Portland, and I'm passing by, and then they started using the N-word, calling me immigrant, calling me a Muslim. And then I responded, and then they physically assault me. If there were, and I'm not saying that there was, if there were police officers there and they noticed that, what is available to them in their toolbox to use?
It's very likely a misdemeanor. So a summons would be possibly an arrest.
Okay.
And that would depend on a lot of factors, including whether the jail would take that arrest.
Okay. So it's unfortunate that interim corporation counsel was not here, but my question is there anything we can do as a city government to put something in the books so that if a situation like that happens, our officers can use what we have in the books?
I think that's probably a question for Michael, the corporation counsel, and he can respond to that, I think, in a follow-up memo for you. But I think the tools may be limited in what we could do, but I'll have him look into that.
And thank you. The reason why I'm asking this is somewhere last year, there was a rally in commemoration of the coup attempt that happened in DC on January 6th of a few years ago. But that event was at Monument Square. And there were two groups. One group was the one that were, and then an individual was able to find his way all the way to stand behind speakers from the other group, right? And when I was told, a lot of people reached out to me, and I asked myself, what if this gentleman or this individual who was able to cross and go all the way, we've seen what is happening in different parts of the country a while ago, people were being shot at protests. What if he shot someone? What if he did something to harm one of the people that were speaking at that time? And I did ask, is there anything that we can do to make sure that if there are two parties protesting, one person from the other group does not cross because we may have a situation at hand that will be detrimental to our community. Even what happened last Saturday of people being assaulted should not have happened, let alone something worse than that.
I'll add a piece for Michael to look at, some specifics with regard to that, but I would just add that this council, 2 different times when I was corporation counsel, attempted to regulate speech in different ways. One time was with regard to the medians, requiring and indicating that we didn't want certain speech in the medians. And then one time was in front of Planned Parenthood specifically. And that we were trying to keep people away from the front door of Planned Parenthood. I will tell you, we lost both of those cases. And it's that shows you that the First Amendment, it's tough. It's really hard, and the case law is really difficult. So I'll have Michael look at that specifically. But I just wanted to remind everybody of that, because those cases, we took them all the way up to the First Circuit, and we lost in both instances.
Thank you. And then my next question is, I think Councilor Pelletier did touch on that when she said that, where do we go next? People are, the 2 hours of public comment that we had are people saying that we are afraid, we don't feel protected. We pride ourselves of being a welcoming city for everyone. I know I have used that several times. Will I be able to use that in front of a certain group that were here today? If I should be standing in front of them tomorrow in front of City Hall? Probably not, based on what I've heard from them. How do we, as a council, what do we have? What are we going to do to reassure people that we are welcoming and thriving city for all? That is a question to all of us. I'm not expecting any answer. It's a rhetorical question. So, and Mayor, I will want to know what we can do.
Thank you, Councilor.
Omar, welcome to Portland.